brother, friend, son, teammate.
He just held everyone together, and I think he's still doing that.
Yeah, I'd like to think that we had a pretty good relationship. I tell people, like, I started out the first couple years of school at Chillicothe. Then it was to Piketon. And then after a few years of that, I got held back. And after a few years after that, I was at Unioto. Houses were always changing, teachers always changing, friends always changing. He was like that best friend that was like always there no matter what school, what grade, what sports season it was, like no matter what, he was always there no matter how much we wanted to knock each other out or how much we wanted to strangle each other. Like at the end of the day, we were still best friends.
Jude was the realest dude I knew, for sure. I mean, he was never gonna lie to you. The best guy I've ever been around. He's like my best friend.
To sit here in an interview and describe your son who's passed as a human being and a person is very, very difficult. So I'm trying to find the words, but just a funny kid, man, really full of life.
He said it's like he just walks around with a magic wand, just bringing happiness to everybody.
I said this at Jude's funeral. You could put Jude at any lunch table in the lunchroom, and he would have a good day. And that's just the type of person he was. I was fortunate enough to have him in 6th grade as a student, and then coaching through our basketball program.
He had Ehlers-Danlos vascular type. It's a rare genetic disorder. Well, they say rare. It's rarely diagnosed. Most cases don't get diagnosed until there's an autopsy.
It's a connective tissue disorder that often leads to artery rupture. He just doesn't have that connective tissue to protect his arteries and organs.
We were fortunate enough to have it diagnosed when he was around 12, so we were able to get him out on the contact sports and get him to doctors, and we thought we were doing everything we could do.
We knew what was like the situation of it, but we didn't really understand how severe it could have gotten.
He really didn't express it because he just wanted to be normal and play ball just like us three, so he really didn't ever talk about it or anything. He was just being a kid and having fun.
He woke me up. It was about 6:30. It was my day off on a Wednesday, and said he wasn't feeling well. We'd learned to trust him when it came to his body at this point because he'd been right a few times, and we were just kind of saying, hey, rub some dirt on it, and he'd be all right, quit being a wimp. And then come to find out he had some serious issue, and we ended up having to take him to the hospital, and he never let us live that down. It was like I tried to tell you guys.
Tried to tell you, Mom, for 2 weeks.
So when he woke me up, I thought something was seriously wrong. So I asked him. I said, "Are you just not feeling well?" Because he hadn't been feeling well for a few days. We kept him out of practice and out of school and things like that. Are you just sick still, or is this something else? And he goes, "No, there's something wrong." Started brushing my teeth real fast. She was in the shower, getting ready for work, and I said, "Hey, I got to get you to the hospital." I brushed my teeth. I was probably upstairs about 2 minutes, and by the time I got back downstairs, he'd already collapsed on the floor. We didn't know it, but his aorta had ruptured, and he lost feeling in his legs. And I could tell he was in pain. So I immediately called 911. By the time we got to the hospital, they were getting ready for the scans and stuff, and getting the helicopter on the way. And I can't remember what they said. Probably 15, 17 minutes away from me to get him out of here. We got to do some scans and stuff. So it's chaos at the hospital, obviously. At this point, we still don't realize how serious it is. I was scared, only because I could see the fear in his eyes. He knew something was seriously wrong. We'd spent some time with him. He was telling us he loved us, and we were hugging him, and they were getting him hooked up to stuff. And even through that, he still never lost his humor. He said, "If I get out of here, I'm not going to school tomorrow." He was already trying to plan his next day out. He was not going to school. First, they told us everything looked okay, and we're like, okay, we've been through this before. He's going to be all right. They were at this point, the helicopter landed. They were getting ready. They were getting ready to go for the life flight. I said, I'm gonna hop in the car. I'm gonna start heading towards the hospital right now. That way, when the helicopter lands, I'm not that far out. And I didn't even make it out of the parking lot. And they called me back in. he was losing blood so fast. I took another look at the scan, I guess, and that's when they realized that he had a really bad rupture in his aorta. And hope is a funny thing, but when I heard that, I didn't have much at that point, to hold on to. They went through and was pumping bags of blood through him, bag after bag after bag, and I don't know, after 8 or 10 quarts of blood, they pretty much called it at that point.
Just sitting in algebra class and got an all call on the speaker, and it was like, boys basketball team head to Bruce's room, and we all go in there and everybody's just looking sad and stuff, and Jeff Miller, the girls basketball coach, walks in and was like, Jude Little's passed away, and everybody just broke down. Nobody really believed it. And, I mean, I can't even believe to this day. I mean, I'm sure they can't either, but really that day everybody just stayed together and nobody can really believe it. Everybody was like, why him?
Yeah, but as a dad, that one hit you, that hits you the hardest. To see them have to lose their son at such a young age, and then to see my kids have to grieve their friend was difficult.
I also don't think there's anything like losing a brother. Like, I mean, not only to see my brother, he's my best friend, having to try to fill that hole somehow, some way. Like, no matter where you go, you see people, they're talking about their siblings, they're talking about their nieces and nephews and their uncles and this and that, and that's probably the hardest thing for me right now, is knowing, like, no matter what happens, like, I'll never get to be an uncle. Like, I'll never have nieces and nephews. My kids won't have that uncle that they would have had.
Number one, it reiterates and reminds us how good of a community that we live in. It doesn't seem like a basketball season or a school year goes by without one school or another having to deal with adversity, and it just shows, you can be someone's biggest rival, but when a family of that school is in trouble or needs something, our community comes together like no other.
You do see it everywhere when you come to the school. I mean, he had such an impact on the people that are in the community and in the school right now, but that's gonna at some point fade. Most parents' biggest fear when they lose a child, I would have to imagine, is that their children just get forgotten.
We wear these bracelets, we got shirts for him, we have all this.
You just don't wear him to look cool. It's obviously for him.
It's just a reminder that he's really always with us, remembering what he did for us and how he helped us, and just him being a part of us, it's huge.
I think the impact that he left on the school will remain without us doing a thing.
It's a very bittersweet thing if I am having a rough day. Like, all these people are here remembering him, they're talking about him, they're wearing his shirts, his bracelets, all this, like, they're thinking about him. Everybody here is seeing all this, so it's like, even though it sucks for me, like, it's not about me, like, this is about Jude, and like, so it's very bittersweet.
He's still around, and it's, you see it at other schools still, people still wearing his shirts. So, Jude Little is, he's never going away.
The only thing we can do for Jude now is to try to live our lives how he would have lived through our eyes. Go do things that he wanted to do. Let him see through your eyes, buy the things that you wanted to buy, go to the places you wanted to go, do the things you wanted to do, or he wanted to do, so he can have those experiences through your eyes.
When we were all at his house, just having a good time in the basement, playing Xbox.
Yeah, just messing around.
Yeah.
Shooting on his mini hoop, playing ping pong.
Hockey, air hockey.
Yeah.
Oh man, I tell him I love him. But I'd probably tell him thank you. For only being here for 15 years and seeing the impact that he's had on so many kids in a positive way, which is what our world needs. Jude spoke his mind. He wouldn't hold back. If he would tell you what you needed to hear, not what you wanted to hear. I've seen him do that with his friends, but he would always make sure that he let them know that he still cared about them. And for someone at that age to be able to do that is remarkable, I think.
Knowing one day that I hopefully will see him again, the first thing I'd say is I missed him, because there's not a day goes by that I don't think about him.
Really how awesome of a person he was. Obviously, I wish that they could have had the opportunity to meet him and to get to know him the way that I did. I hope by that point into the future it won't hurt as bad to talk about the good memories, the funny stories and the good times we've had, because like right now that's still a little too raw. Like it hurts too bad to be able to enjoy those, at least for me personally. So I hope by then I can paint a pretty good image of Jude to people that never got to meet him, sort of that they look at him like he's a lot cooler than I am.
We're still figuring that out, man. It's just been so early. There's still just so much pain and emptiness, guilt. I don't know how I could possibly help another parent that's in my position now. We have the scholarship fund, and we're going to work towards trying to grow that as much as we possibly can to help kids, and that'll be another way to keep his name out there.
I'll never forget the day he came to the middle school. We were in 6th grade, and he shadowed me, so he was following me around the whole day, and it was just like we clicked just immediately. Like we were already just best friends. I can already tell. We went home after that day. We were playing PlayStation already, talking like we've known each other forever. So I'll just never forget that day, really.
Blake told me after that day, he was like, I just got a new best friend, and I met him 8 hours ago.
After JV basketball practice, we're all in here and we're like, let's go to Lowe's. So we head to Lowe's and we're all just sitting there, and Jude's over in the corner and we're all over here on the other side of the table, big table, and we're all whispering, telling us Jude's birthday. And so about 10 of the Mexican dudes come over. They're putting ice cream in his face. It's not even his birthday, and it was just amazing, just his smile. And that was probably my favorite moment I've ever had with him. And that was probably a week before he passed. So everything happens for a reason. I really believe that.